Hi everyone, this is the Module 2A examples. You should first read the vocabulary on pages 19 and 20. So read through all that, make sure you're familiar with that, and then go ahead and start on page 21 with me here in the examples. So this pie chart and then the bar graph that follows are from a report produced by the LMC Office of Institutional Research from fall 2009. And if you look at the bar chart, you can see in here where it says N equals 11,056. That's the number of individuals that were in this study. So our first question is, what is the source of this data and when was it gathered? So we always want to think about the source and then the who, what, when, and why for our data. So the source here, as we said, is the LMC Office of Institutional Research, and the data was gathered in 2009. You want to start developing the habit of answering questions with complete sentences as we move to working on projects later on in the semester, and as you take quizzes and tests, you want to be in this habit of giving me complete sentences to really clearly communicate your answers. So the next question asks who or what are the individuals described by this data? And as you can see, they're talking about the ethnic composition of LMC, so the individuals described are LMC students. And then what? They want to know what is the variable that is being measured. And so in this case, it's the ethnicity of different students. Or we could say the ethnicity of the student body. And maybe we better backspace and say LMC student body just to be extra clear. And then the values are what types of numbers or other categories the variables take on. In this case, the values that they take on are the different ethnicities. So you have the choices of Hispanic, Caucasian, unknown or declined to state, 2 or more races, Filipino, African American, Pacific Islander, Asian, American Indian. So let's go ahead and make that list of the values here. So in this case, because this is category data, all these are categories, the values are the categories. And I'm just going to go down the list around the circles I typed this in. And I'm going to scroll back up so I can see more clearly. Unknown is probably declined to state, or they left the question blank. Okay, so we got all of our categories listed there. And then this leads us to the question, what type of variable is this? Well, we can see that the data arranged in the bar chart is the different ethnicities, which are categories. So this is categorical data. Another good hint that this is categorical data is from our vocabulary. We know that categorical data falls under bar charts or pie charts, and quantitative data would be arranged as a histogram or a stem and leaf plot. So the type of variable is a categorical variable. And then the why wants to know what are some questions that could be answered using this data. So here you could have some freedom to make up your own question. A question I might ask, looking at the circle chart here, the pie chart, would be what percent of LMC students are not Caucasian? And then we could even type out the solution. We know there's 100% total contained in the pie chart, and if we say 100% minus 32%, that would leave us with 68% of LMC students are not Caucasian. So a majority of LMC students are not Caucasian. Maybe did I spell this right? No, it looks like I need to fix my spelling. And the last part question here says, does the pie chart show the distribution of this variable? Why or why not? So if we look back at the pie chart, recall from your vocabulary that distributions show us how often the variable takes on the different values. In this case, our values are the ethnicities, and we can see the distribution pretty clearly here. We can see, for example, Hispanic students make up 26% of LMC, so they are a bigger piece of the pie than, for example, Filipino students. So we would say here, yes, the percents show us how often the variable takes on different ethnicity. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and look at example 2 on page 22. And this is a bar graph. So remember from our vocabulary that bar graphs are categorical data. And if we look at it, it's showing LMC fall 2007 student enrollment as compared to the East County population. So it's a little bit hard to see in your photocopy of your packet. There are actually 3 different bars here. And we call this a bar graph, even though it's going horizontally. You can organize either way the bar graph data. So for example, if you look at Caucasian, the first category here, the top bar, which is 44%, is measuring the percent in fall 2007 at the Brentwood Center. So in fall 2007, the Brentwood Center was 44% Caucasian students. The next bar, the middle bar that's hard to see here in the lightest color, is measuring fall 2007 LMC enrollment. So the whole LMC student body, including the Pittsburgh campus and the Brentwood Center. And that was 38% Caucasian in 2007. And then the last box down here, the last shade, is measuring East Contra Costa County. And you can see that's 242,658 people or individuals. And if we look at how that's measured out, that bar is 45% Caucasian. So you can see if you look, the Brentwood Center is pretty close to the percent of Caucasian in the East County, and the LMC campus overall, or the total LMC enrollments, has a less percentage of Caucasian than East Contra Costa County. And so you can go down the list and look at each ethnicity and the differences between the 3 different locations. So here it's asking us, what's the variable? So again, if we look at these categories that are now on the vertical axis, the categories are measuring ethnicities. So we'll put a text box in here to tell us that the variable being measured is ethnicity. And then it asks the values. So if we look here, the values are again these same categories that we saw in the pie chart, the different ethnicities. So the variables take on the different ethnicity categories: Caucasian, Latino, African American, Asian, Pacific Islander, Native American / Alaska Native, others, and then unknown not respondent. Oh, and I typed Hispanic, which they put in the last data. We might say Hispanic / Latino because this bar chart uses Latino. So I'm just typing the list as seen in the different labels for the labels up in our bar chart above. And then the next question asks us, what type of variable is this? So as we've talked about, these ethnicities are measured as categories, so this is a categorical variable. And again, another indication that this is categorical variable is because we're looking at a bar chart. So anytime we're looking at a bar chart or a pie chart, we're most likely looking at categorical variables.